Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises in gaming history. When it comes to which gaming IPs are making the most money, COD consistently hits the top of the list year after year. But that doesn't mean it's always been the trendsetter. Sometimes you just have to borrow a good idea from somewhere else, and today we're going to be taking a look through COD history, and we're going to focus on a few times when the devs, well, they wore their influences on their sleeves. What's up, everybody? Chaos here. These are going to be things that Call of Duty stole, borrowed, or whatever you want to say, inspiration from other games. So let me know which of these you actually didn't know about. Drop a like. Keep in mind, this is not a bad thing for something to be on this list. Every popular franchise will borrow good ideas from its peers from time to time, and just because COD used someone else's ideas doesn't mean it's a bad series or the final product was lame because of it. It's just an interesting topic to talk about because the gaming industry is constantly looking for new ideas, and it's pretty common for something new to catch on, and then suddenly everybody's doing it. So keep that in mind. At number 10, Ground War, the 2019 version. It's a pretty obvious one, but it's also a perfect example of what I mean when I say sharing ideas isn't necessarily a bad thing. Ground War used to simply be 9v9, but in Modern Warfare 2019, the mode was given a whole new meaning with a massive 32v32 mode on giant maps. Vehicles, you could drive around, both teams fought for control of 5 flags. Sound familiar? It was basically Battlefield, but with custom classes and kill streaks of Call of Duty, and you know what? It was good. The gunplay and the kill streaks of Modern Warfare fit perfectly in this massive battle scene, and it also added some variety to camo challenges. I mean, since certain things like long shots and shooting down kill streaks was way easier in Ground War. Is Ground War original? No, absolutely not. It truly is the equivalent of playing Battlefield in the COD engine, but what's wrong with that? Nothing. 2019's Ground War was super fun despite being a pretty obvious copy. Before we move on, guys, I haven't mentioned it in a while, but we've grown. Check out the Chaos comic store. The link is at the top of the description. If you collect Funkos, if you collect action figures, comic books, Pokemon, sports cards, anything, we have some really good deals over there. We try to price and undercut everybody we can. So go check it out, shop around, let me know if you see anything you like. At number 9, Search and Destroy mode. Now, Search and Destroy is one of the most popular game modes in COD. I mean, forever. It appeared all the way back in the original Call of Duty multiplayer, and it's since returned in almost every single new iteration of the game. Now, the exact rules, they've been tweaked and changed slightly over the years, but the core outline of S&D, it's the same. 2 teams go up against each other, no respawns, try to wipe each other out, while also either destroying or defending one of 2 bomb sites. So why is one of the most popular game modes in COD history on today's copycat list? Because the mode was lifted from Counter-Strike. The main Counter-Strike game mode is almost identical to Search and Destroy, but with the addition of a buy menu in between rounds. Now, when looking at this one, it's very understandable why Infinity Ward did it. The original Call of Duty was a PC exclusive, and since Counter-Strike was one of the biggest multiplayer shooters in the world at that time, they wanted to show they could offer the same kind of tense gameplay, but with a World War II paint job. By removing the buy menus in between rounds, Search and Destroy was born, and it quickly became a staple of the entire series, especially once COD blew up on consoles. After all, Counter-Strike never had much of a presence on the console, so getting a Counter-Strike style game mode that played well on controller, that was a game changer. But since we're talking about Counter-Strike, at number 8, the Heist mode in Black Ops 4. Now, Heist was a brand new mode for Black Ops 4 that more or less died immediately, but it did have potential. This was more of an intentional middle ground between COD and Counter-Strike. It introduced things like buy menus, made the gameplay far more like CS than ever before. Honestly, it was a pretty fun mode. I would have loved to see Treyarch expand upon it in a future title, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Despite being a featured mode in the game's marketing, Heist was not a very popular game mode once the full game was released, and it never came back. But, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Heist deserves another shot at being featured in Call of Duty? Or do you think COD should just stick to COD instead of trying to be like Counter-Strike? At number 7, Battle Passes. It's hard to determine who actually invented the Battle Pass, but I bet whoever came up with it really wishes they had filed a copyright. Battle Passes started catching on in mainstream gaming world around 2018 after games like Fortnite started showing just how addicting they could be for free-to-play games. Starting with Black Ops 4, Activision decided to include their own version of the Battle Pass in each new Call of Duty game. The initial Black Ops 4 Battle Pass was not good, especially since it didn't replace paid DLC, but with the 2019 and onward, it was refined, much more consumer-friendly. Now, the Battle Pass is pretty frequently criticized for a number of reasons, and I can understand people wanting something new for a change. I mean, hopefully, if the business model changes in the next couple of years, it remains this consumer-friendly model, because if there's one thing we should be able to all agree upon, it's that free DLC maps and weapons are a good thing. This is one trend that it was probably good Call of Duty jumped on. even if it may be starting to overstay its welcome. At number 6, specialist abilities in Black Ops 3. Now, Black Ops 3 changed a lot of the COD formula. Not only was there a whole new movement system implemented, but this was also the first time COD, they featured specialists. Now, themselves, they were pretty unique for that time. The way the specialist ability works, it was lifted almost one-to-one from games like Destiny and Titanfall. In those games, every player was slowly charging up some kind of special ability they would activate by hitting both bumpers at the same time. Titanfall would call in your Titan. Destiny would activate some kind of special ability. Black Ops 3, hit both bumpers, activate your specialist weapon or tool. Now, BO3 had a lot of really unique elements to it, and the specialists, they shook things up. But if we're talking about mechanics being lifted from a game, it's pretty obvious that Treyarch had been keeping an eye on what the competition was doing at that time. Both Destiny and Titanfall 1 dropped in 2014. Black Ops 3 launched the following year, conveniently with the double bumper special ability mechanic. Coincidence? Absolutely not. At number 5, Black Ops 3's movement. Let's stay with Black Ops 3. It's hard to look at the movement system and not compare it to the original Titanfall. Again, Titanfall launched about a year and a half before BO3, and the gameplay videos have been up long before that. Advanced Warfare was the first Call of Duty to feature advanced movement and jetpacks, but Titanfall's movement system was way more refined and sophisticated. There was wall running, a booster pack system, it could recharge without touching the ground, allowed you to basically play the floor as lava with yourself as you bounce from building to building. Black Ops 3's movement system, obviously a huge step up from AW's, but it was pretty obvious that Treyarch took a few notes from Respawn. Much like Titanfall, Black Ops 3 featured wall running, thruster packs, recharge, all that, allowed the player to stay up in the air for a long time. Black Ops 3 and Titanfall 1 play very differently, but if you look at the similarities between the new movement systems and consider the fact Treyarch was likely watching Titanfall trailers, I get it. Mode in COD World War II. Now, COD World War II was one of the most hated games in the franchise when it came out. Yes, the game had a bit of a resurgence in recent years, largely thanks to the overhaul, but back in 2017, the community was pissed off. But just about every aspect of the game was criticized. One thing that actually got positive reviews was War Mode. Brand new addition to the multiplayer, borrowed the name from an old game mode from the classic Treyarch games like COD 3 and World at War. Sledgehammer's War Mode was clearly inspired by Battlefield's operations. It even included some aspects of Levolution, although not nearly to the extent of what you would see in Battlefield. War Mode may have been much smaller scale than Battlefield, but the mode, it was a breath of fresh air, and a lot of fans were really hoping it would return in COD Vanguard. It was honestly a great mode, and I hope it actually comes back eventually. Speaking of Vanguard, at number 3, Vanguard. Now, this may be a bit of a stretch, but I think it's safe to say Vanguard stole most of its identity from Modern Warfare 2019, at least when it comes to multiplayer. It was Sledgehammer's latest attempt, and while it could have been awesome if they made more like COD World War II, it was widely skipped by the community because of the abundance of similarities with Modern Warfare. At first glance, in the first few matches, the games, they feel identical. Vanguard did have a very different playstyle and overall vibe, but it's been a long time since the copy-pasting of gameplay was this obvious in a COD game. I think the last time gameplay was this similar was the jump between Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 back in 2011. Certain things in COD are always going to roll over with one another. That's the whole point of having a franchise. Then again, when the games are so immediately similar, it can be a hard thing for players to get past. I mean, why play Vanguard when you could just play Modern Warfare? At number 2, Modern Warfare 2. This may also be a bit of a stretch, but there was a lot of not-so-subtle examples of the new Modern Warfare 2 using the classic Modern Warfare 2 for nostalgia bait, despite the two games having virtually nothing to do with each other. You may be thinking, of course they're going to do that. It's obvious. But when you really think about it, why does that make sense? Modern Warfare 2 2022 has absolutely nothing to do with Modern Warfare 2 2009 other than the characters' names, and yet it's filled with callbacks to the classic, as if it were some kind of remake or reimagining. But it's not. It's just a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, which is in a completely different timeline from the original Modern Warfare games. Maybe I'm thinking way too hard about this, but that's how I see it. It's a little weird. And at number 1, Battle Royale. This one is a little ironic when you think about it. Call of Duty is one of the biggest shooters in the world thanks to its Battle Royale mode, but the only reason it ever added a BR mode in the first place was because it was getting kicked off the top of the popularity charts. Call of Duty was in a serious downward spiral in the mid-2010s due to games like IW and COD World War II underperforming. Around this time, budget multiplayer games like PUBG, Fortnite, H1Z1, they were exploding, largely thanks to the Battle Royale game mode that was extremely exciting to play and watch. Never before had a game mode been such a great example of a spectator-friendly experience, and in 2018, Activision decided it was time to enter the ring. Development on Black Ops 4 was going very poorly, and the publisher decided to use it as an opportunity to dip their toe into the BR genre. Blackout launched as part of Black Ops 4. It was actually a fantastic BR mode that established Call of Duty as a major player. In 2020, IW gave us Warzone, which changed the gameplay loop, but It updated the business model to be far more consumer-friendly, primarily with a standalone free-to-play launch. Battle Royale now the bread and butter of Call of Duty. That simply wouldn't have happened if it were not for games like Fortnite, PUBG, and H1Z1. I mean, they completely taking over the PvP market in 2017 was probably the best thing that happened for Call of Duty. And there you have it. Those are things that Call of Duty borrowed from other games. Let me know if we missed something or there was something else on there. And like I said, check out the Chaos Comic Store, guys. Me and my son Bryce are running that business. We're building the online business, and we would love for you guys to be part of it. I'll see you soon.